All right, welcome everybody to August's Panvala Town Hall meeting. We try to come together once a month just to be able to hang out with people across Panvala and to be able to share different updates and hear about what people across Panvala are up to as well. Right now, there are 59 communities in the Panvala League. We want to continue to grow. At the end of the day, the goal is to be a network of thousands of communities who come together to work together to be able to amplify the things that each community is trying to do. So for today's call, the rough agenda is to give a quick update on what's going on with the donation matching, so you know what's going on there. Give you a little bit of an update on what's going on in the coalitions that are active in Panvala and the different committees you can be part of to help run Panvala itself. You'll hear an update from the membership committee. And then we'll talk a little bit about a community spotlight sort of effort that we're going to try to start next month on the September town hall, and then dive into discussion and Q&A about anything that's on your mind. If there are things that you want to make sure that we get to, feel free to drop them in the chat and we'll keep it there and make sure that that happens. We don't have to like literally go step by step through all these items. So feel free to interrupt. If you have questions, if you have things that you want to talk about, we want to get those answered and discussed. So any questions before I dive into the agenda?
Nope, sounds good.
Awesome, let's do this. So to start with, the update for the donation matching. Again, our communities collected donations during June, and then we used the inflation from Panvala's token supply to match those donations. So each community has a page up on panvala.com that kind of shows where your matching multiplier kind of lies. And then it's using that data to distribute the fixed amount of tokens between the communities. So July 30th is the date that on-chain the inflation for this quarter was released. So now those tokens are available to distribute among the communities who raise donations according to what's on your community page. So basically the next step to actually get those tokens to communities is for the budget committee to sign a multi-sig transaction that kind of distributes all those to the communities, and that's going to happen this week. So the first batch of matching should hit your wallet for this quarter this week. If you were already in Panvala last quarter, you've already seen 3 matching transactions hit your wallet from last quarter, and this will be the next one that happens this week. And those 3 transactions will happen this quarter as well. So July 30th is that first kind of distribution date. Then in August 27th, that's when the next matching will be released. And October 1st, that's when the last matching will be released for this quarter of donation matching. The next round of donations is going to start in September, and that's when we'll basically do the donations that'll determine the next set of quarterly distributions from the inflation and so on. So this is kind of the timeline for the things that you've already done, the staking numbers that are being pulled from the chain and from ZK Sync and from everywhere each day. That's used to calculate these numbers that we release 3 times a quarter. Any questions on what's going on with the matching distribution and the matching schedule? All right, if you have any questions about, particularly about your community and what's going on, like what you should expect, things like that, if you don't understand how the numbers are being reached for what goes to your community, we want to walk you through it. So feel free to reach out anytime. I can put my, yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I have a question. So for instance, like for Jovian, we have enough pan staked where we are getting maximum matching. So if we unstake some of our pan, would that affect the amount we get paid out?
So you can think of it as no, it won't affect it, but there's a slight effect, right? So
Okay.
all the staking in Panvala is relative. So If you stake a little bit less, that reduces the amount that everybody else has to stake to get their share. So there's a slight change. It's not that the numbers won't change at all. It's just that they won't change that much. So as long as you're maxed out, you if you unstake some and you're still maxed out, then you're good. The number, if once you're fully staked, it's hard to know the number of pan that you need. So I don't actually know how much extra you have right now that you could unstake, but there is some, since you're fully staked, there is some amount that you aren't using right now that if it moved, it would not harm you very much.
And then inversely, if somebody is in a different position where if they increase their staked pan, could that also increase their matching multiplier even now during this payout time?
Yes. So let me see an example of that. Basically, every day is when we take the staking amounts we pull from chain. So literally every day that is going on, there's something changing about what could be matched. So if we take, for example, Bloom Network. So Bloom Network currently is almost fully staked, but there's kind of 13,000 more pan that they could stake to match to max out their multiplier. So if they stake some more pan today, that would literally take effect today, and each day's calculation is affected by the amount that's staked on that day. Your staking amount matters every day.
Okay, thank you. That makes sense.
Any other questions on that? All right. Again, if you have any questions on what's going on with your community, I can walk you through your community's page, and if necessary, through a spreadsheet that actually calculates all these numbers to make sure you understand what's going on. But if you already understand what's going on, that's kind of the goal of these pages. We want it to be as simple as this progress bar. You stake more, you max out your matching multiplier. If you're maxed out, you don't need to do anything. You're totally good. So it's supposed to be simple. So if you don't have any questions, that's kind of the goal. But if you do have any questions, we want to walk you through it. So just reach out and let me know, and we'll set up some time to go through it if you have any questions. The next thing on the agenda is coalitions. So a lot of your communities are already involved in coalitions, but if you're not, just kind of a refresher of what those are. It's basically communities with shared interests coming together to cooperate. So right now there's 4 active coalitions that meet monthly, and they have a multi-sig wallet that is funded by a bonus from Panvala itself. So there's a bonus for being part of a coalition, and your coalition gets to kind of share that bonus and use it to fund what they want to do together. So some examples of what that could be, some communities, like none of the coalitions have actually used their multi-sig pan yet, but for some examples of what they could do, if there's some sort of event that they wanted to put on, they could use their pan for that. If there's some sort of like a raffle they wanted to have to encourage people to show up to a thing, they could do that sort of thing. If there's some sort of prize that they wanted to give out, again, anything that they want to do together, the pan is there in that wallet to increase the skids of cooperation. We want to make it easy for the communities that come together in Panvala to be able to cooperate. Instead of having to figure out how are we going to fund this thing that we want to do together, we want those resources to already be in their multi-sig wallet because it's already come from Panvala's inflation to there for them to be able to use. So the upcoming coalition meetings are the Regenerative Commons Coalition is having their meeting on August 5th. I believe that's this Thursday. That coalition has communities like Common Stack, Giveth, Dandelion Collective, and a couple of others. The Crypto Art Coalition is meeting on August 11th. That has communities like NFT Hub, Women in Crypto Art, NFDAO, and a couple others. The Future of Work Coalition is meeting on August 13th. That has communities like Gitcoin, DAO House, Raid Guild, Opolis, and several others. And then the Women-Led Web3 Coalition is meeting on August 19th, and that has communities like Metaspace, Metagamma Delta, Women of Crypto Art, and a couple others there as well. So again, if you want to plug into these coalitions, there's a Telegram channel for each one where discussions happen there, the monthly call, which are these on the schedule here, and that multi-sig wallet that each community has that's funded by a bonus from Panvala's inflation. So we want your community to be a part of coalitions. That's kind of why that bonus is there. If there's not a coalition that seems like a fit for you, but there's other communities that you want to work with in Panvala, we want to create that coalition and help you get it started. So reach out to us if you want to get plugged into these existing coalitions, or if you want us to help you form a new one. We want to help you do both of those things. Any questions about coalitions? And anyone here is part of a coalition that they like and want to give a shout out for what they're up to, feel free to do that as well.
Crypto Art Coalition is awesome because we're awesome people, but I don't think we've done anything too specific yet, but I've been wanting to organize like a art exhibition in one of the metaverses at some point here. Just got to get a hold of people. I know we're all like, the whole space is insanely busy right now.
That's
Absolutely.
amazing. Cool.
Yeah, that'd be really awesome. And if there's any way we can support it, we want to help you make that happen.
Yeah, probably just be I don't think it'd cost anything really. Like I have land we could use in the metaverse, and past that it'd just be awareness, I guess.
You could use Pan for prizes though. Like you could either like connect some into an NFT, or so that's part of the NFT, or you could just give Pan as prizes or to in a raffle or something like that. So you could bake it into your event in a fun way, maybe.
Yeah, that's an idea. I know Charged Particles was talking about doing a pass the torch kind of thing with
yeah, do a charged particle with Pan in it, or so. I don't know if he's hooking to other. Anyway, I don't know where he's at, but yes, do a charged particle and like have a giveaway of 10 charged particles or something like that to people who come or whatever. Yeah.
I'm actually
Love it.
Yeah, they're talking about doing a pass the torch thing where like it would like start off as one artwork, and then like it would be passed to somebody who would add an NFT or tokens to it, and so on and so forth through like everybody that's participating. Then the whole thing would be auctioned.
Oh, that's a cool idea too.
Yeah, I don't know if they did it or not, but like if they're live on Polygon now, so like it's basically free to do that, other than like the art and tokens, but transactions can be insane money.
Awesome. If any of that sounds interesting to anybody here, again, the coalition call is happening on August 11th, and that is the place to be. Also the Telegram channel as well. Any other people in coalitions that have anything they want to say, or anybody who has any questions about coalitions?
I mean, the women-led Web3 Coalition is really awesome. I just think it's such a meaningful, great group. And I love the fact actually that we're not doing big activities like, I don't know, we're not jumping together and just giving ourselves a bunch of jobs. We've just been, I feel, having a very interesting, meaningful conversation. And it's just a joy to come to something that is just filled with really interesting and smart people, and then not just ask myself like, what am I going to volunteer to do right now, but listen and and talk with people. It's so fantastic. And then I have no doubt that we'll eventually do something amazing, but we're not on the doing right now, and I love it. What do you think, Steph?
Yeah. The women-led Web3 Coalition is like a really special place to be. It's women and their allies, and we're talking really openly about basically like women's experience working in Web3, and just like slowly and honestly like unfolding like some of the realities that are actually present in our lives as women, being the extreme minority in this space, and having a really different perspective and really different set of skills in the way that our like professional experiences unfold. And sometimes, sometimes the unfortunate obstacles that we face. So it's really, yeah, it's been really, it almost feels like it's very supportive, and it really builds, like, I don't know, it's hard being a woman in Web3 at this time. It's like you're very like out there on the terrain, like try like by a little bit solo, unless you're in an organization that has tons of women. So I really like the conversations that are unfolding there, and some of the people are actually pretty skilled in like educational projects and activism, like, how can we like retrain people in the workplace to consider like a feminine perspective, and how do we also like basically grapple with the reality that if you have 1 woman to 10 men, that those women need different support, like differing level of support than like bringing in one more man. That man needs certain support, but bring in 1 woman, she needs like unequivocally more support. So yeah, how can organizations actually develop that, and like consider that like a reality? So yeah, it's really fascinating. It's kind of a conversation group, and it's like moving really organically. So I like that.
Awesome. For some more context for people who haven't seen like the coalitions form, like each of these was created by people in those communities. Like it's not like oh, this coalition should exist, be a part of this thing. It's literally like people who are like, hey, I want to work with this community and this community. We have similar interests. Let's find out ways that we could collaborate or just benefit from having conversations with each other. Like that's really what we want to help facilitate. The more like cross-pollination, cross-collaboration between the communities in the Panvala network, the more each community benefits and the more the network as a whole benefits. So we're just trying to help make that happen, trying to provide value for the communities that are part of the coalition in any way we can. So if it sounds like something you want to be a part of, but there's not a good fit for you in the current coalitions, we want to help you start in the same way that these got started.
I just want to add one more thing about the women-led Web3 Coalition. While women get a lot out of being a part of this group, I don't think anyone was like as like shocked as like Yaler. He's like one of our male allies, but he was like, oh my God, like this was so eye-opening. And he was really charged up and motivated to like learn more about how to like help women feel at home in like different organizations that he's a part of. So like for men also, like if you are looking around at your organization, you're like, we don't have enough women or we can't attract or retain women. This could be like really interesting conversation to come support and listen, ask questions. So yeah, it's for all of us. It's just the focus is like, what are women's experiences? But I think the more harmony that we can create together and our understanding across the gender line, like that's the goal,
Sounds good. Before I move on to the next thing, any last coalition related questions or comments?
Just wanted to say that I put a link to the our Telegram chat for the Regenerative Commons Coalition in the chat here, and if anybody is interested.
Already joined.
Thank you for sharing that there. We want to provide an easier way for people to discover the coalitions. So we're trying to put together all the resources in one place. And eventually there'll be just a convenient link that will get you to all of them. But for right now, sharing the Telegram link is probably the best bet. All right, next up on the agenda is committees. So this is kind of the second way to get involved in Panvala, and it also has a bonus attached. The difference between this bonus and the coalition bonus is that the coalition bonus funds your coalition's multi-sig, right? That gets Pan and your coalition's multi-sig. You can do stuff together. The bonus for participating in a committee goes to your community. We want the communities that have members who are helping run Panvala itself. We want them to get more Pan. So that's what committees are all about. It's about contributing to make Panvala itself work. It's about taking on some of the responsibility that happens each quarter to make this whole thing happen. To dive into what's happening in the coalitions, I want to point out something that may be new to some of you. It's the THA forum, the Token Holders Association forum. That's really where a lot of the activity is happening in the committees. So this is what that site looks like. If you're familiar with Mighty Networks, that's the software that's being used here. But really, it's just the place that all token holders to be able to participate in discussions without having to be plugged into necessarily a live chat all the time. Some people can keep up with a large Telegram group or a large Discord, but for this, we want people to be able to just dive in when they need information and get notifications in their email when there's something that's relevant to them. So that's what's going on here. If you go to tha.panvala.com, it'll show you what's going on. You can sign up and that'll start giving you the notifications and will allow you to actually post. The groups are where the committees are. So right now, the most active committees are the membership committee and the marketing and events committee. So I'll start with the marketing and events committee. That's really where, if you're interested in helping spread the word about Panvala, or you're interested in helping make our events run or our community's events better, the marketing and event committee is for you. We've already done a couple things, like there's a brand refresh project that a couple of people were involved in, and some other things there, running the events.panvala.com site. If you're interested in that sort of thing, this is the group you want to join. The way you join is by clicking that group and literally saying join. I don't have the join button because I'm already in it. So the join button is somewhere. I don't know where it'll show up, but that's how you join this one. And then the membership committee is the other very active group. That's really how we grow Panvala. The whole process of adding new communities to Panvala goes through this committee. And if you want to help be a part of that, if you want to understand what goes on each step of the way so you can do part of it, that's what the membership committee is all about. So for more on the membership committee and what it's been up to lately, I'm going to hand it off to Steph to share an update from the membership committee.
Okay, amazing. Let's see, I made a little to-do list of announcements. So let's see. So all members of Panvala are actually personally invited to be part of Panvala, which means that we have a really strong referral network. So the Panvala grows person to person, community to community, which is a really, really organic and authentic growth mechanism. And it's really good for our culture, and it's really good for supporting new members coming in. And it's also great because if you refer someone, you get an incentive, you get a bonus for your community, and you also get to participate in helping a new community get set up, which I think deepens your connection and alignment with Panvala as a whole, because you get to teach somebody, right? So there was a moment when you were being taught, and then there's a moment when you get to teach somebody else, and yeah, and then it just goes on and on. So yeah, I joined Panvala last quarter, and I was really interested in joining the membership committee and supporting the member experience and this organic growth engine that is a big part of Panvala at this stage in its development, especially. So the kind of initiatives that we have going are, we are trying to decentralize and commitify the onboarding activities that Nuran has primarily driven. So Nuran is usually the point person for something called the intro call, which is when you got referred to Panvala by whoever referred you, and then Naran had a call with you and taught you all about Panvala, like step by step. So the membership committee is going through this intro call presentation, and we're revamping it. We're making it a little bit more accessible for anyone to teach and communicate this to any new member. So ideally in the future, if you want to refer someone, you could also be the same person who's qualified to do the full introduction to Panvala and answer their questions. It doesn't mean Naran's gone, but it means that we're like starting to share this role. And like empower ourselves and each other to really explain like how Panvala works like accurately. Yeah, so that's underway. So the new intro call presentation deck, Stephen and Habib are helping with that. And then let's see, Stephen and Ron are working on putting together a new page on the website that talks about, or a page, I think it's going to start as a page in the handbook, and it's going to maybe evolve to the website, but something that goes over all the referral program more in depth. It talks about the incentives. It's also possibly up for review sometime soon if we like the current incentive referral bonus, which is 15%. Maybe it will make sense once we have some of these materials like revamped and refreshed to increase that referral bonus and see if we can do a referral drive and even have like a leaderboard where, you know, if you refer someone, it's going to say like, you know, Stephanie referred, you know, like Jeremiah referred, and then we can like keep track of like how many referrals people bring in, and we can earn that referral bonus for our communities doing something of like immense value to Panvala right now, which is bringing in, growing the community. So, and then the other thing is, yeah, so this is something that like would be great crowdsource. So I'm gonna announce it here, and hopefully if this spawns inspiration in your mind, please share that or follow up later. But we're looking for, we're interested in assessing opportunities to present Panvala like inside of other like community forums. So like kind of like an open house presentation. So you might be a part of Panvala, you might also be a part of like an ETH Alliance or another education network or another area where there's communities gathering that you think would benefit from learning about Panvala. You know, maybe they would benefit from like our coalitions, or maybe they would benefit from the support that we have for fundraising. So we can find these opportunities, and then the membership committee can go in and do like an open house and just basically give the presentation and see if we can find any people interested in being recruited over to Panvala. I don't know if I should use the word recruit, but join, you know, become part of, participate. And okay, and then lastly, and this part I'm really excited about, honestly, which is the membership committee is going to start reaching out and doing one-on-ones with the communities who are a part of us right now. And the purpose of that is to, three purposes, right? So one is to go over your account. So hey, like you just did your fundraiser for batch 11. Here's how you did. Here were the levers that you pulled and pushed, and here's how you ended up. And also go over like how you can check, you know, distributions to your account, which is like, yay, we just got, you know, we got $1,000, worth of pan. Like that's actually happening right now. So we can go over those things for you so that you feel like, you know, you have a chance to look at that and review that. And then the second part of this call is to collect your feedback. And because this is the first one-on-one we've had in this nature, I kind of put together some questions that focus on like the member journey up until now. So your experience from recruitment or from like learning about Panvala from the first time through onboarding and like the last few months. So what has your experience been like? And I have some prompts, but it's also really open conversation. So you can say anything that, you know, is top of mind for you. And you can also invite other members of your community. So if you've been holding down the fort for your organization's participation in Panvala, but you think that there's like these 2 other people at your organization that also would like really enjoy being part of the Panvala kind of realm of activities, you can invite them and we can have like a little focus group. And that feedback is basically, you know, it can be private feedback. It can be public. It's however you feel comfortable, but we're opening that valve to like collect feedback. And then the last thing, there'll be like a couple of action items for you. So it's a good way for us to like hone in on a couple of action items. And this first set of calls, we're going to be going back over what Naran showed with the THA, which is this kind of beautiful portal that we have that can contain a lot of our community life, but we're still, I think, heavily reliant on Telegram and kind of outgrowing it in different ways, and there's limitations there. But so introducing people to the THA and seeing, you know, if they want to go ahead and build their member profiles, that's the easiest way to join committees, start committees, create events, you know, track all of your work in a way that's really distributed so that we don't accidentally create information silos. And that will also help new members like drive their own journey of self-discovery when they join Panvala, which is ultimately what we will need as we grow to the hundreds and thousand members. That's all I think we have from the membership committee. If you're interested in being part of the membership committee, you can go to THA and you can click on the membership committee and you can join the membership committee. It's super easy. You can also reach out to me. I'm new, but I'm like, this is kind of where I'm parking my interest. So yeah.
Awesome. Thanks, Steph. Any questions about the membership committee or committees in general? The committee bonus, anything about committees, now's the time to get your questions answered.
That was very impressive, Steph. I don't have a question.
Thank you for the accolades, Anne. Returning the love now.
Awesome. So the last thing I wanted to touch on before I let people go is kind of something that we want to try for starting next month. So we do this town hall every month. A lot of it is kind of like sharing information about what's happening in Panvala and having people kind of consume it and listen to it. And that's not really the field that we're going for. So we want to kind of switch it up and have it be more about kind of a discussion with a particular community each month, to have at least a section of the town hall call that's really about that. So that's what we're calling the community spotlight for now, that the name for it might change. But basically we want to showcase what's going on in your community. So the idea is starting during September's town hall, one of those agenda items will be literally just a spotlight on a particular community where we talk with that community about what's going on. They get to share what's going on. We want it to be like interesting, exciting, something that people want to come to every month to hear what's going on across the crypto world and across Panvala. So if your community is interested in kind of being one of these first community spotlights, let us know, and then we'll kind of build a list and kind of go through the list of each month and say, hey, this month the spotlight's on whatever community, and kind of have a discussion about your community during the town hall call. So if you have any feedback on that concept, any ideas that you have about how to make it work, or if you want to participate in it, reach out to me and then we'll get you in the queue. With that said, the floor is open for any final discussion or Q&A. If there's something on your mind that you want to share or any questions that you have before we let everybody go, now's the time to make that happen.
I just want to say that I think now is a great time to be involved in Panvala, and I'm super glad it exists. Just thinking of some of Vitalik's presentation at FCC, and I also watched Kevin Iwaki's one. there seems to be a movement towards, or certainly beyond DeFi, and like towards, yeah, might we even dream to say kind of social and ecological justice, and how crypto can actually do some good in the world. And that feels to me really aligned with Panvala's culture, at least. So yeah, really exciting time to be here for me.
Awesome. Glad you're excited. That's definitely what I feel is happening as well. Like there's these different hype cycles in crypto, right? But for me, like when I try to evaluate the landscape and it's like, hey, what's actually worth working on here? What can this technology do? It's really about having new economic tools that we can use to empower communities, that we can use to empower different kind of efforts that our current society, that our current economy just doesn't really focus on. So that's what I think is possible here. That's what I think is really exciting about crypto in general. It's not about people getting rich off of random tokens. Rebuilding the financial system on top of blockchains is cool, but that's not really why I'm here. I think you can put powerful economic tools in the hands of each and every person on this planet, where we have new ways to coordinate the value that exists in our economy and drive it towards the things that we care about. That's the boom that I want to see. And I think if that happened, so many people would be happier, both because they see the world changing in ways that they want, but also because they have a little pocket to be able to do their own thing without having to necessarily get everybody to agree. They can see the world, the economy, our resources kind of bend in the direction of what they have in mind. If we can actually successfully do that, I think that's the biggest thing this decade, this century. Like, I think it's a really big deal. So I agree with you that right now is a very good time to be a part of Panvala and to be able to grow this thing, to be able to show more people what's possible and to share it with as many communities as possible. I think is really the most important thing that anybody could do right now. I'm biased, but I think it's important. Steph?
I have an idea, like, because you were saying the community spotlight, like we can use this town hall as a way to, like, I guess, like, get ideas from like one area like out to a broader audience. And I was thinking, you know, the coalitions have a lot of knowledge in them. Like they're kind of specialists, like the Regenerative Commons like group, like these are people that have all read like similar texts and they're like very like knowledgeable about what they know. So it might even be interesting to have coalitions as spotlights, to share like what theories or what questions they're asking, or to like host a little bit of a panel in some way that's a little bit more impactful because people who aren't necessarily going to be in the coalition can hear about it. Just an idea, because like communities would be cool, but also maybe coalitions.
I love that. Consider it part of the proposal. So if a coalition wants to be part of the spotlight, totally acceptable. Any last questions or comments? All right, thanks everybody for taking the time to be part of this meeting this month. Hope to see you again during next month's town hall and during the coalition calls in between. Again, like you've heard from me why I think this thing is so important, but really what makes it work is you being a part of it. I really appreciate you being a part of it. And I think the impact that you're gonna make by being a part of it is a really big deal. I think together we're going to be able to redirect the value in our economy to flow to what communities want to do with each other. And by giving more people economic tools that help them shape what happens in our world, rather than just having to like win an election or to like run a company to be able to make the things that you want happen, I think each community can shape our world in the ways that they want. So thank you for being a part of it, and hope to see you across Panvala during August. Have a good one, everybody.
Thanks, Nan.
Bye. Have a good month.
Have a
Bye,
good day.
guys. Thank you.
Good one.